Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are going way past the surface.
Oh, way back.
We're going to dissect a work that is, well, it's both violently aggressive and at the same time profoundly philosophical.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Cipher's Dominion by the elusive ensemble, Project X.
And this really isn't just a song, it's more of a meticulously constructed text.
The textual experience, yeah.
We have the full lyrics, the core visual, and our whole mission here is to give you the tools you need to appreciate what Project X has done.
The strategic mastery, the spiritual richness.
It's all woven into every single bar. It's a very layered work.
The first thing that struck me was just the audacity of it, the blend. You've got this relentless, almost unapologetic hip-hop energy. But then inside the rhymes, you find concepts basically ripped from ancient Hindu and Chinese texts.
Such a strategic military manual written by a Zen master.
Exactly. And that means Project X is demanding that you listen on multiple planes at once.
And that really is the defining thing about the Project X identity. From the very first line, they build this persona of absolute control.
Totalitarian, almost.
Almost, yeah. Not just over their flow, but over their own, internal systems. Cipher's dominion is their arena.
An arena where skill and spirit are basically weapons.
Equally weighted weapons.
So that's our goal here, to give you that shortcut, that privileged understanding of Project X.
So the next time you hear the track, you're not just nodding to the beat.
You're decoding it. An intellectual exercise from Project X.
So let's start by defining the perimeter of this dominion.
Okay, let's get into the setting. The visual that goes with Cipher's Dominion, it feels like a blueprint for the chorus.
It is, absolutely.
And it's a study in deliberate contradiction. You see the central figure representing Project X, and they are standing on a gigantic, glowing lotus flower.
And that lotus is just so key. I mean, it's a timeless symbol.
Purity, enlightenment.
Resurrection, all of it. It signals the high plane that Project X is operating on. But then you have the juxtaposition.
The chaos.
Exactly. The lotus is surrounded by smoke, by fire, this huge radiating crowd. It's confrontation built on a foundation of serenity.
And that's perfectly captured in the chorus. First, Project X gives you the physical space.
Step into my arena where the real kings reign.
Right. But the dominance is delivered with such raw aggression. Spit and fire so intense, scorching every lane.
The fire is literal aggression, but the lotus underneath it all suggests the power source is something else.
Transcendent, not just physical.
It's an assertion of legacy. So when Project X says, Cipher's dominion, remember my name, it's a demand for recognition.
A demand rooted in that synthesis.
They are the Cipher's dominator, yes, but they dominate by controlling all the elements, the fire and the light.
It's a bold claim, describing themselves as the orchestrator of devastation.
So see, that's not just blind rage. An orchestrator implies a plan.
High-level planning. It's precision.
And that's the critical pivot point. We're moving from the physical aggression of the arena
to the intellectual precision of the craft itself.
Exactly. If Project X is an orchestrator, we have to look at the architecture of the verses. We have to understand their strategy.
Absolutely. And the lyrical prowess Project X claims is just astounding. They talk about their process like it's structural engineering.
Yeah.
They're the architect of verses, building structures with precision.
Which suggests the flow, the rhyme schemes, they're all meticulously planned. This isn't just raw talent, it's intellectual labor.
And they elevate that process into something almost supernatural.
Right, it's not just writing lyrics, they call it an alchemy of syllables, turning lead to gold divine.
A metamorphic power. They see their words as capable of true transformation.
Turning the mundane into something priceless.
And the result of all that precision, all that alchemy, is this power to bend space and time with every line. I have to ask, though, isn't that a level of ego that it borders on pomposity?
I see what you mean.
How does that godlike ego square with the spiritual detachment they talk about later?
Well, that's the tension Project X lives in. The ego isn't dismissed.
It's justified.
It's justified by the rigor of the strategy. They earn that ego through intellectual superiority. And they immediately frame the whole creative space as a battlefield.
Oh, the military and strategy metaphors are everywhere. They're not artists in a studio.
No, they're commanders in a war room. Strategic like a chess game, outmaneuver all the plays.
The intellectual component is central.
It's a labyrinth of lyrics. In a labyrinth, raw power doesn't work. You need foresight. You need cunning.
You need to see moves ahead.
Precisely. So Project X is arguing their dominance comes from a superior mental architecture, not just a louder delivery.
And you see this duality in verse 1 that kind of foreshadows the deeper stuff. Project X starts as this disruptive force. The shadow in the booth bringing darkness to the nation.
Right, but the shadow only exists to define the light. The disruption isn't the final goal.
They end that thought by wanting to illuminate the path where the true MCs shine.
So Project X suggests they have to bring the darkness, the pure aggression, to expose weakness. But their ultimate purpose is to teach.
To show the way.
And that's the bridge. That's what leads us to the hidden journey.
Okay, this is where the intellectual foundation of Project X really surfaces.
That's where the richness comes in.
After all the physical dominance and strategy, they just drop these incredibly specific, ancient spiritual references.
Like they opened a 3,000-year-old textbook and just used it for their rhyme scheme.
Exactly.
And it's astonishing because Project X integrates this spiritual language not just as, like, flavor. It's the engine of their flow.
They're saying their creative power is inseparable from mastering their own internal energy?
Fundamentally, yes.
So let's start with the big one, the deep yoga lexicon. Kundalini in line, spiral stimuli rekindled my mind.
For anyone less familiar, Kundalini is.
Ah.
It's a huge concept in yogic philosophy.
The coiled serpent of energy.
Right, at the base of the spine. When it's awakened, it's said to lead to profound spiritual awakening.
So Project X is claiming that their creative state is a state of spiritual awakening.
The flow isn't a muse. It's the result of tapping into that coiled serpent power. It suggests their genius requires total energetic alignment.
But they don't just stop at the abstract concept. They get into these almost demanding instructions.
This is where Project X asks you, the listener, to participate.
They say, assume the posture of prana and mula bandha.
Okay, so prana is your life force, breath control. Mula bandha is the root lock, a powerful core contraction used to drive energy upwards.
So Project X is directly linking breath, core engagement, and vital energy to the ability to rap.
They're essentially saying, my flow is so powerful, you need to engage your root lock just to handle it.
It takes the idea of control to a whole new level.
And then, maybe the most startling part, is the command to move your medulla oblongata.
Which is just, it's genius and borderline ridiculous.
The medulla oblongata is part of the brainstem that controls involuntary functions. Breathing, heart rate.
So they're claiming voluntary control over the involuntary.
Yes. They're connecting mastery of the autonomic nervous system to artistic genius. Their dominance is so complete they can manipulate the most fundamental unconscious parts of the body.
The ultimate statement of sovereignty.
And they keep reinforcing it. The coiled serpent immersed deep in your nerves. Another clear Kundalini reference.
But then the scope broadens, right? It goes beyond just yoga. In verse 3, Project X references the time of Upanishads.
The Upanishads are foundational Hindu texts, millennia old. By referencing them, Project X is tying their modern art directly to an eternal textual tradition.
This moves from just spirituality to integrated philosophical doctrine.
And they connect that ancient wisdom right back to practical energy control. They say, insert air in your nostrils, let the Qigong begin.
So now we're in Qigong, which is Chinese energy cultivation, a shift from Indian prana to Chinese Qi.
Project X is showing off a synthesis of global wisdom traditions, all focused on internal energy powering external creation.
It all comes together with the final instruction. Move your mouth. Beat your tongue. Let the rhythm spin.
So if we recap the layers here, Project X built Cipher's dominion on 1. Aggressive external dominance.
The fire in the arena.
2. Rigorous intellectual strategy.
The architect and the chess game.
But it's all ultimately powered by 3. Total internal, energetic, and spiritual mastery.
Kundalini, prana, and the Upanishads. It's the ultimate fusion.
Project X has merged these fields that seem totally disparate into one incredibly rich experience.
The modern beat and the ancient wisdom aren't just compatible.
They're essential to each other. The strength of Project X is that it's rooted in the timeless.
And they leave us with that final declaration in the outro, which just captures the synthesis perfectly.
Blend in ancient wisdom with the beat's profound, Cipher's dominion, forever unbound.
That feeling of being unbound, it comes from mastering both the physical and the metaphysical worlds at the same time.
Which leaves a pretty important final question for you to think about.
Go on.
If Project X is saying that true lyrical genius requires mastering breath control, internal energy, Kundalini Mula Bandha, what does that imply about high-level artistry in general? is true creative dominance in any field, ultimately dependent on mastering your own physical and spiritual state.
If the path to lyrical glory runs through the medulla oblongata, then Project X demands a mastery of self that we rarely, if ever, ask of our artists. Something profound to mull over. Thanks for diving deep into Cipher's dominion with us.